Been having these visions long?
Since I were a tyke. Me mother took me to the village witch once. I falls into a cauldron full of some magic brew.
Seriously?
If I'm to tell it serious, 'twere as a youth that I got hit in the back of me head with a rock. Started seeing more than others.
It was at this moment that I knew The Witcher 3 was far beyond us. What did we truly get with The Witcher 3? Have we become too spoiled? Has gaming changed into a cash grab from the AAA powerhouses, with nothing more than greed fueling the decisions to release and create content? Sure, but not for The Witcher. The Witcher is a series of fantasy action role-playing games developed by CD Projekt Red and published by CD Projekt. It is based on the book series of the same name by Polish writer Andrzej Sapkowski, acting as sequels to the stories of the books. Before we delve into this video, I think the writer of the book deserves massive credit. Andrzej Sapkowski is a fantasy writer who authored the series. Without his creative Polish mind, we would not have the world that has become known as The Witcher. While this video is not necessarily about the author himself, he absolutely deserves the credit to the games we have had released over the last few decades. If you are into reading, I highly recommend the books. Back to the video at hand. The Witcher 3 has held its place in gaming for a long time. Initially, I had only played about half the game on a defunct old computer, and when I decided to play through the game in 2021 with quite a beefy computer, I was utterly shocked how well this world and game has held up, not only lore and story-wise, but graphically as well. This video will be broken down into three parts. The first part we will look at the lore building and gameplay. In the second part we will look at the character customization and UI, and in the last portion we will critique the visuals. I will attempt to keep this all under 10 minutes to not keep you bored and so you may go about your life, hopefully with a better understanding of why The Witcher has been able to hold its place in the world of gaming. I also hope to show that somewhere out there are still agencies that care about the consumer and go the extra length to show consumers that gaming indeed is not dead and it is not in the hands of these powerhouse agencies. The lore of The Witcher can be discussed for hours. Without a better world, it's phenomenal. As a longtime gamer, especially in the RPG realm, The Witcher 3 leaves you begging for more. The entire story links together like butter on toast. Take a look at this clip, for example.
Long ago, to isolate themselves from a world of beasts, humans began building cities. But since beasts prowl within stone walls as well as they do outside them, this did not allay human fears. The truth is, walls guarantee no one's safety. The place where you lock yourself in and lock all else out, that's not your home. Your home is sometimes a place you travel long and far to find.
In less than 30 seconds, we see more cinematic build-up than I could create myself in a year. The idea that every quest and piece of this story somehow manages to come together like steak on a grill leaves my almost boomer mind seething. There is something pleasant in knowing that the extra mile is taken even in side quests. It's one thing to have a solid story and baseline characters to fill that story with. It's something completely different when game developers are able to intertwine and interpret what quote unquote should fit in a series that isn't even technically authored by them. The renditions that this game shows over and over is fascinating. If lore isn't your thing, I don't blame you whatsoever. We have been so accustomed to quick, repetitive games over the last decade, with an endless feedback loop of adrenaline. The Witcher said, wait a second, what about lore? This is something that I, and as well as many other gamers out there, old and young, can truly come to appreciate. We don't feel like spending $20 a week on the next skin or crazy custom gun should be warranted. And to think that this was developed around 2013, with less tools and resources currently available to all the developers and creators alike, is also a fascinating feat. To end on the lore parade, I leave you with a question. What are you truly buying when you purchase a game nowadays? Are you purchasing a game because you feel you will have fun with it? Whether you will get time and time well spent out of it? Whether you like it or not, if we constantly buy the newest release of a game and continue to show support for massive agencies that do nothing but reskin and redevelop old content over and over again to ultimately get money out of your pocket, well, they will continue to get money out of your pocket. This isn't something that I feel too strongly about personally, but it definitely is worth noting in the grand scheme of gaming. Agencies have gone as far as releasing games free to play with the sole hope that you purchase microtransactions. I am not saying anything new per se, but when you replay a game that is almost a decade old and find how vastly different the developing landscape has become in said decade, it sort of leaves you scratching your head. Have we truly become spoiled? Is gaming really trendy now? With the latter release of streaming services and quick go-to dopamine providing content, you really can't blame gamers. You have to blame developers and their ability to control the general casual gamer. They might not think like you or I do, but it is worth noting once again that somewhere out there are still games that are great, that countless hours were poured into, that deserve your money. I, for one, feel strongly about this point. The Witcher takes you into many different worlds within its own. Trying to not spoil the game too much, you are immediately thrown into a wasteland of sorts and slowly inch your way toward massive cities and towns, only to then take sail into the Isles on your journey to find the truth. If there is any game on the market that does lore well, The Witcher 3 should, in my opinion at least, be held at the top. It wouldn't be fair to the consumer otherwise, to pass up such a masterpiece of story. The gameplay of The Witcher 3 is fire. You aren't going to find another game like it on the market. You are given a plethora of weapons from swords to axes to crossbows to magic in the form of signs, which assist you in slaying all sorts of monsters and beasts. You have full control over how you want to build your Witcher. If you enjoy the brunt up close bashing style, you can build Geralt to be a tanky boy. If you want to go the route of magic, you are given different paths with magic. Depending on your favorite signs, you can increase your power. Whether you choose to use these as additives or use them to deal the brunt of your damage is up to you. On top of this, you have different potions and oils that each have their own effect to assist you in your quest. The idea of hunting monsters down and using your bestiary to help you slay that monster you haven't faced feels great. The gameplay itself feels smooth, there aren't stutters or bugs to be concerned about, and you are left with a very well-rounded game. I personally enjoyed the toxicity portion of the game, giving you basically superpowers through these potions and oils to help you perform. You can upgrade your character through different ability points to further drive your build home. There is no one way to play The Witcher, which drives my lore point to a finer tip. The game immerses you to really feel like the Witcher you are, of course, after your bit of coin in the process. The character customization and UI portion of the game are unmatched. Taking a look at the map, you can clearly see there are hundreds of things to do in the game, ranging from the main story, to side quests, to little additives that will only appear when you actually explore the area, leaving you with endless possibilities. There are caves to explore, towns to save, people to help, and most importantly, items and loot scattered across the main areas of the game. Every corner you go to, there is something of value, which you can tell just by a glance will leave you with literally hours of gameplay, if that is your thing, of course. The visuals, the visuals, the visuals. I couldn't really figure out what to put in my script at this point in the video, but like I mentioned before, since I have gotten a bit older, I have been blessed with a beefier computer than what I ran back in 2015, and the visuals speak for themselves. Even if you aren't running a mega computer with a new age graphics card, the game still looks wondrous on consoles at lower frames. Project Red really outdid themselves with level design and environment building. I guess I can just show some of my favorite spots I was able to capture while making this video. They should speak for themselves. With all of this being said, back to my original point. The Retrospect was created in the hopes that somewhere out there in the realm of gaming, there are still developers that create content for the consumer and not the currency. I hope that this video is evidence enough that the future of gaming is indeed not dead, and that Retrospect has a funny way of cutting deep sometimes. I want to shout out to everyone who was able to make The Witcher 3 possible, from Andrei Sapkowski, the original author, to all the developers in between and all the agencies that made this series live on for so long. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this sort of content. And always remember to toss a coin to your Witcher. Who knows what he may need in this day and age. As always, take care everyone. This is Skiba signing off.